Hello everyone, I am Noelle Rollins, and this lesson is all about shading. So go ahead and grab your paper and pencil and eraser if you have it. If you have any cotton swabs, you can go ahead and grab those as well. I want to just start this video by showing you a few different types of shading that people commonly use. This first style is called hatching or hatch. And what it is it's lines going one direction. So you can see I kind of am rounding them a little bit with the we're going to make a sphere, a ball shape. So I'm rounding them a little, but I'm not doing any that are perpendicular and going across from them. And so this is a way that sometimes can be very quick. You can get those effects of shading in pretty fast. There's also, you can grab a ruler if you want a very precise look, and you can have darker shading with having the lines closer together, putting more pressure, and then lighter shading by a couple things. If you are doing a pencil, you can have your pencil sharpened as sharp as possible, and that'll give you a tinier line. Or you can use a harder pencil, which I'm showing here. This is a 2H pencil. It's most similar to what you'd use in school to take a test. And you can see the pressure and how that comes off on the paper. And so there's a scale. Further to the left of this, it would go up higher to 4H, 6H, and then it kind of comes to the middle with HB, and then it starts going into the B ones. And so using the same pressure with an HB pencil, you can see how much darker that appears on the paper. So this is another thing. You can get these drawing pencils at almost any store that sells any arts and crafts. And then using that same amount of pressure, you just get a darker feel. And so that's another trick you can use to use this technique. Typically, I picture this style a lot more in architecture, in landscapes. I have used it before on faces and hands, but it's not my ideal technique. So the second technique I'm going to show you is called crosshatch. We're going to start exactly the same with the lines going all in the same direction. Again, we're curving a little bit to go with the flow of the shape. We don't have to overcomplicate anything or worry too much. It just is a general feeling you can get here that your hand is positioned in a way where you can just do lines over and over. And again, there are people that, and I've done it in the past, where you line up a ruler and you do this very precisely. And so here I am crossing those, and thus the name crosshatch. So lines coming in a different direction, and what that's doing is just adding another depth to the shadowing. So I'm using the 2H pencil here still, just getting light lines all the way around. So here I am, coming in with the 8B pencil. And again, this one has a softer lead to it, so it comes off easier onto the paper. And again, I'm just doing this really quickly to just give you an idea. You can pause this video at any point to catch up to where I am. Another trick, if you're following along, you could just do a smaller circle so there's less to shade. And I think it's important. We don't have to be perfect here. Obviously, those circles were not perfectly drawn. You just do the best you can do. And the point is, you show up and you practice and you have fun with it. And if you're not having fun with it, then really what's the point? So this is probably the shading technique that most of us are used to. We kind of turn our pencil to the side a little bit and try to get any of that side that we can We're lightly just filling in, using less and more pressure to apply the shading. So we just very lightly, I'm going back and forth and trying to fill that in. And remember, when you're doing this, less is more. So you can always continue and add more and more strokes at a lighter pressure. But if you start with too much pressure, it's really hard to get that back and even fully get it erased. So you can do whichever way works for you. I'm left-handed, so this may look a little different than what yours looks like. But here I am, just kind of trying to do lines a little bit with the curve of the circle with my oblong rock shaped circle here. It's just really important that we all just cut ourselves some slack while we're learning things. And yes, this isn't rocket science, but it's a different part of our brain that we're using when we're drawing. And so if we're used to having exact answers and that there's exact solutions to things, then this is going to feel really foreign to you, because there really isn't, an exact done point ever. Even on the most detailed portraits I've done that have taken me 100+ hours, I still felt this sense of, do I keep going? How much do we do? Are we getting the look that we want? Is this enough? And part of art is just letting art be art. And I'm sure we've all seen a wide range of art where sometimes it's imperfect, and it is even more amazing than the pieces that are perfectly done. So do not think that you can't thrive and fully enjoy art if it's not perfect. So now here is the second way. So I'm going to demonstrate with a little bit of a face feature and nose here, just to kind of show this technique off. And I'm sure most of us have done this in school. So I'm filling in with the 8B pencil. Just lightly adding some deeper lines, a little bit of extra lead there on the paper that we will have to work with, and something as simple as a cotton swab. And you can come in and drag that lead around. And if you get really close in there, what that does is it starts to blend it together where you don't really see the paper through it then. So I keep a box of cheap cotton swabs by my art table for when I need to do this technique. And you don't have to do this technique. There is phenomenal art that is created where it is not all smeared together. And you see the lines, you see the hatching, you see the sketching look. But it's important to know all the different styles so that you have the tools in your tool belt to achieve the look you want to achieve. So this is another common blending tool. They're very cheap. You can see here I'm picking up some of that and then adding some freckles. If you want precise detail, these work great. And they come in like packs of 12 for like $1 or something. They're very inexpensive. I get mine from Dick Blick, but I believe probably most craft stores have them. So where these are not the best, always I find, is these larger areas. I'm kind of tilting it a little to the side to get a little bit more of this paper to touch the drawing surface, but where these are really at their best is when you're wanting precise details. But you can still see it's making an effect. It's smearing it into each other. It's kind of smoothing out those lines from my drawing. So just a couple very rough examples just to give you an idea. Okay, now we are going to go in and actually shade one of our eye drawings from last week. You can pull out any one of your eye drawings that you have already created, or you can just watch and see how I'm doing this, or you can pause this video and recreate a line drawing in pencil of an eye. So here I am, I'm starting in the center of the pupil there, and I'm just doing the same sun ray style strokes. I'm edging a little bit there, but for the most part I'm going in and out to smear that together, and it already just looks so much more realistic. So now I'm coming in with the cotton swab, and I am just smearing some of these lines. Very few lines on our faces are very distinct, so blurring them a little bit often makes it more realistic. Coming in and adding a little bit of depth to the color with the 8B drawing pencil. You just use what you have. If you don't have one of these, that's okay. And also, if you find it easier to color in the whole iris of the eye and then come back in with a very detailed small eraser tip, you could do that and erase that part. I find that a little bit more difficult, but it is possible. So now I'm coming in with this blender that is a little bit more precise, and I'm using it to just really expand on that eye crease. I'm doing the tear duct area here. And I'm kind of just creating a little bit of, picture the round circle we just did, where the edges have a little bit more dark shading to them. That's all I'm doing. The eye is just another circle, and so the edges are going to be a little bit deeper in color from just the shape of them and the shadowing of the lids. So already you can see that this eyeball is starting to look a little bit more round. I'm coming in and I'm just smearing up that lash line a little bit. Just adding a little bit more shadowing there. Same with the creases and the skin. And typically when you're doing a realistic portrait, most of the paper will have some level of coloring on it. And what that does is it saves the places that are white and left white. Those are the dramatic highlights. So it's a way you can use that paper color to your advantage. So that's often what I do when I look at a portrait and I'm deciding how deep in shading to go. I try to find the highlights, and then that tells me, okay, that has to be the whitest point. Now let me find the darkest point, and then I'll often try to start there and then fill in between. So I have established the darkest, the lightest, and that helps me just make sure the whole thing isn't too bright or too dark. So this is just a basic eye. You can just start to see a little bit of what the shading can do. I'm going in here now with this cotton swab, and I'm just filling in a little bit more of the skin. What I love doing here, if I'm doing a very realistic portrait, I love showing some of the small little pores underneath the eye. It's where a lot of times we have little, almost chicken skin type texture to our eyes, which is really fun to draw. Kind of just coming in and erasing a few of the lines that aren't really necessary. And so now I'm coming back in with my darkest pencil, and I'm just going to retrace these lashes a little bit more boldly. And I'm just really retracing them exactly where the pencil line was. Adding just a couple more in where I see that there could be one. And again, we're doing the V's and the X's for the most part, where they crisscross. They're not perfectly spaced, but you can get the idea how they don't all just go in the same direction. They really round with the eye. So there we have it, friends. You did it. You can pause this video here if you would like to go in and recreate this. I wanted to come back in really quick and just show you. So now I filled in that highlight on the eye. Just another kind of bonus little thing. So I have a gum sort of style eraser where you can shape it. So I'm just shaping a really small little edge into it with a little part that juts out. So then you can just see how easily that erases. Sometimes I'll come in and show a little bit there, kind of show a little highlight on the eye. So erasers are such a fun tool. We'll go over that at a later date, but they can help add so much detail and fun to your artwork that they really are like the secret weapon we all have with our drawings. So tell me in the comments your favorite part of drawing the eye so far. Did you like this shading? Is there anything else you would like to know about shading? I am going to share another eye with you later in the week that you can practice along. It'll be about a 10-15 minute video as well. In the meantime, check out these other videos that will help you learn about drawing eyes. I have some colored pencil ones if you're into that. And I will see you again soon with another drawing video. Thanks so much for being here. Bye.